Oprah and Michelle have worn them. Her designs featured in the New York Times, Women's Wear Daily, even primetime TV shows. She's an entrepreneur who's proved more than once, when one door closes, another one opens.
I just look at life in a very different way than most people. It's an evolution.
Celebrating 25 years in the industry, she's Chicago-born and bred fashion designer Maria Pinto, today's profile for heavy hitters. We met up with Maria at her warehouse office, a workspace where the two worlds of fashion and art collide, a collision that can also be seen in her clothes, classic, elegant, yet making a statement about the confident women who wear them. Today we get a sneak peek at her latest collection. It's called M2057.
What does M2057 mean?
So the whole thing behind M2057 is the idea of fashion meeting technology. I needed a new name, but I didn't want a word. And I was sitting across from my mother, and at the time she was 96. And I was like, what are the odds that I would turn 100? She probably will. So it's the year I turn 100.
Maria Pinto was born on Chicago's South Side. It wasn't until the age of 30 that she decided to pursue her passion and went to design school at the Chicago Art Institute.
The Art Institute was a really great experience because it was the blend of fashion and art. And that's why I chose the school, so that I could still paint and sculpt, which I think informs my fashion work as well, so there's this synergy. So I graduated from the Art Institute, and then I went to New York and I interned for Jeffrey Bean, like a year and a half, and I came back to Chicago. So that was 1991. It made sense to start with the scarves and wraps. And so when I launched these accessories, my first client was Ultimo, and my next clients were Bergdorf, Barney's, and Saks.
Things started taking off.
Very quick.
What were your thoughts then, too? Were you thinking, I've made it?
Who had time to think? You know what, you never feel like you've made it. You're just thinking, okay, how do I get this delivered, and how do I get the next collection designed?
That next collection took her in a whole different direction, not once, but 3 times. In 1994, Pinto added evening wear to her brand. It was a hit, and soon Bergdorf Goodman was selling the full Maria Pinto collection. Her clothes were in demand. But the historic event that changed America also had a major impact on the fashion world.
9/11 imploded everything in fashion. Because of the kind of collection we wore, we relied on a lot of trunk show business, which would launch from September 11th until, late October. Everyone just stopped. No one wanted to be walking down the street with a shopping bag. No one wanted to be conspicuous about consumption of any kind. And so after that cycle, I was just like, I need a break. So in January, I closed. But I knew I had to rethink how I was running the business. In the meantime, I spent time just, figuring out what that looked like. And then we relaunched in 2004.
You knew you were going to be back, right? It's just a matter of timing.
Yeah, it was a matter of timing and, just getting things in order.
And for the second time, Maria Pinto designs came back bigger than ever.
Like, it looks as good with a flat little sandal, or you could wear it with some great stilettos.
No doubt elevated by the interest of a little-known senator's wife, who eventually became the First Lady.
One of my clients said, I've got this great friend, and I think she would love your clothes. And then the rest is kind of a little bit of history.
How did that make you feel to seeing the First Lady of the United States wearing your clothes?
I mean, the only word you could put to it is surreal.
Someone told me you're the reason why we now wear sleeveless dresses. Mm-hmm. Is that true?
I've heard that a few times. I think it's really Michelle Obama, but it's because maybe I encouraged her to wear the kind of sheets and shifts that she was wearing.
Michelle Obama wore Maria Pinto designs on multiple occasions. Oprah Winfrey's Legends Ball, the 2008 Democratic National Convention, and then numerous times during the Obama administration.
Wow, this is so comfortable.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. Like, it just moves with you.
Yeah.
But even an endorsement from the First Lady wasn't enough to get her through the 2010 recession. The sluggish economy had Maria Pinto shuttering her doors once again.
I just look at life in a very different way than most people. It's an evolution. These are things that happen. You could dwell on them and say, oh my God, poor me, or I don't see it that way. I see everything as an opportunity.
And in typical Maria Pinto fashion, she didn't wait for opportunity to come knocking, but instead took action herself. She resurfaced in 2013 in an unusual way, launching a Kickstarter campaign for her latest M2057 line. Now she sells through e-commerce, shipping from Chicago to Shanghai, and has reopened her latest shop on Chicago's North Side.
I think reinvention is just blood-curdling. It's about evolution. Like there should be no regrets. Everything is, we evolve and we should learn from the previous experience, right? I've always thought, well, okay, so those are the circumstances, now move forward.
Throughout those evolving times, Pinto has always thrown herself into her other passion, and that's painting. It's her creative release when she needs to escape, contemplate, or just express.
So this piece over here is the one you were saying that started the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Her artwork fills not only her studio retail space, but also her warehouse space that sometimes seems more like a gallery than an office. Her latest paintings cover the entry walls, and those paintings also tell the story of Maria Pinto Designs and where she is today.
I have a garden and I ripped out a rose bush and the roots started dropping out and they were so beautiful. And so I started painting. I was so attracted to this idea of roots and I'm like, this is really interesting. And how does this like relate back to my experience? Was I trying to get rooted, like, you know, after this change?
Do you feel like you're pretty rooted right now?
This is so strange, Sylvia. So I come into the studio. I've been painting like this for maybe 8-9 months. And I came into the studio and I'm like, you know, I want to change my mark. I want to move the ink in a different way on the page. I laid the paper down. I started working from the bottom of the page up, which are all those large pieces. And obviously, what does that look like? Things are rooting. Things are growing up.
Right. Does this describe the growing of you, the growing of your collection?
Who's to say, Sylvia? I don't know. I mean, I think it is. I mean, I think all these things, as an artist, I think everything you're doing is something that's coming from your soul, your subconscious. Feels right.
It's obvious what feels good has worked. That's why Chicago is proud to call Maria Pinto one of its own. It celebrated her 25th anniversary with a retrospective of her work here at the historic Water Tower. It's a time capsule of her evolution that shows the impact she's made on fashion, both locally and on an international level. I'm Sylvia Perez. We'll see you soon with our next Heavy Hitter.